It is Wednesday evening, and that means, well, it's time for another Auburn Family Night. It's our live call-in show that we've been doing since the dawn of time on Wednesday evenings. We're going to talk about anything and everything Auburn here, Auburn sports, Auburn culture. It is your show, your topic, your calls. All that coming up right now. War Eagle Auburn family and War Eagle E2C Network family, thank you so much for joining us. Whether you're watching live, whether you're watching on the replay, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, all the different places and times and venues and multiverses in which you can get this content, we appreciate you being here, hanging out with us, Ben and Simon, being a part of the best little family within the Auburn family. As I opened up the show with, this is a Wednesday night Auburn family live stream, Auburn Family Night, we love to call it, where you can talk about whatever you'd like to discuss. So this will be one of those shows where if you're here for a specific topic, hold on. We'll talk about it, I'm sure, at some point, because it's the popular things always come to the top of the show. But also, we may not be talking about exactly what you're most interested in, but we'll come back around to it. We are literally going to be bouncing from here, there, all around the square. Am I quoting Christmas songs still? Yes, apparently so. We're going to get into a lot of different things tonight. What might be on the table for you? Auburn's bowl game is just around the corner with the Music City Bowl, Auburn versus Maryland. Obviously, a lot of intrigue of that. National Signing Day is not too far in the distant past, and still the transfer portal and certain topics around that exist. Basketball is in full swing. I want to hear if some people got some Auburn Christmas stuff. So there's a plethora of things that you can discuss on the stream, or you could even call in and tell me about it. The line is now open officially, brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. Please do visit them there so that you can check out a place that you could stay when you're at Auburn. I love this village on the plains, but also have a great Auburn experience. So check them out, brought to you by our friends at allthingsauburn.net. So yeah, if you'd like to call in, please do so. Click on the link in the top of the chat here on YouTube. It should be available on Facebook. If you're watching on, I think, Twitter, this is broadcast, excuse me. I don't think you'll be able to access that there. The best thing I can give you advice, if you want to call in here on the YouTube side of things. It's always like the home base sort of thing. So that is what you need to know. To get started, smash that like button. Help us out. Help us get up in terms of like the reach of this particular stream in particular, but the channel, the social media accounts. All you got to do is smash the like button. It's free, costs you nothing, and it's the best way you can do to help us out. A couple other housekeeping things as well. We'd love for you to post where you're watching from, your city, state, international, if you are international. And stay tuned to the end of the show, or if you have to leave, make sure you come back and watch the end of the show. We will talk about the upcoming schedule for live streams during the rest of this holiday season. You don't want to miss that if you are a regular follower here. We got a lot of fine folks already checking in with us. I see WT. I see David Franks. Bubba's here. Good to see you. Kevin Kelly checked in early. Thank you guys so much. I see Ken and Kevlar have already left comments for us. We'll get to our calls in just a little bit. So start lining up now if you want to call and talk to me on this holiday season. Let's see. Ken dropped this message in before the show even started, and I'm curious if he's still watching right now, because he, like I said, this was before, what he meant by this. As Auburn family members at Auburn University, we don't always agree, but we should be all in order for the Auburn family members, in order for the Auburn family members that are just coming on board to feel the love that we have at Auburn. I'm intrigued what prompted you, Ken, to post that. If you're here right now, give me some clarification. I'd love to know. I agree with that sentiment, but that leads me to think that something is amiss that I missed. So let me know. Kevlar also posted, I just want us to finish the season with 7 wins and a bowl trophy. I pray we can get it done. Obviously, a lot's in Auburn's favor. We will be taking over Nashville. Already has started to take place. The Tua's brother, Talia is how you say his name, Tagovailoa, will not be playing. I think some other players from their team are missing. So will ours as well. So you could argue that maybe that negates a little bit, but I think that's a lot of people's on their minds right now. Robbins, good to see you. WDE Kyle, again, football will be fine. Men's basketball going to kick some tail. All is good in the world. Everybody's feeling the good vibes right now. It's Christmas time. Well, it was Christmas time. It's the holiday season still. So everybody is super happy right now, which is what I love to hear personally. All their fine folks checking it in. Thank you guys for being here. All right. And by the way, if you are watching on Twitter, apparently I can see your comments now. In fact, if you are watching on Twitter, just say War Eagle. Let me know that you can see this and that you can comment. It used to be on Twitter/X when you would broadcast there live. You wouldn't be able to, I wouldn't be able to see your comments using this application that I use. In fact, I'm going to do a little quick searcheroo and see it is broadcasting live. Would you look at that right there? But if you are watching there, let me know. And I'd love to see if I can see any of your comments from work. Big Simp checking in with us. Good to see you. All right. So we had somebody lined up to call in and they are not here anymore. So I don't know what to make of that. So if you were in line to get in the call, please call back and we will get you in to say hello and talk to myself and the fine folks out there. Corey's been having some health stuff going on. Got my stitches out today, but still want to be able to throw up my arms when AU scores and when free throws comes up. You know, AU. Oh, that's probably burst all your eardrums right there. I hope all of you do that like I do from home on the basketball games. I can't stop myself. You know, you put your hands up when they go up to the free throw line. If they make it, AU. I know it's lame, but I love it, to be honest with you. David says 7-6 was my prediction. Could have been more, I guess you were saying, pleased. Yeah, I think Auburn was in a really good position to have a much better season than a lot of people anticipated. They weren't able to get the job done, so to speak. But yeah, I think you could make a case. This is a disappointing year. You could also make the case that this was a surprising year in some positive ways. It was the first year under a brand new head coach who took over a program that made a change 2 years before that they probably shouldn't have. And yeah, that's tough. Stan, I messaged you. I saw you message this on another video we did. And I don't have that information in front of me right now, but I sent that to you in that comment that you made on the video. I think it was Gate 1. Can't remember exactly what street it is, but Gate 1 is what I remember seeing. So check that out if somebody in the chat knows where Tiger Walk will be. That's all I remember from it. WT, I've come to the realization that the only thing that is keeping my favorite player, Jalen, he's my favorite player. WT, we've been through this. Don't you dare take Jalen from me. Jalen is himself. When he's on, he is unstoppable. He is quite the player. He is quite the player. Have I seen the Perry Thompson documentary? No, and I don't mean this rudely, and it's probably going to sound that no matter what prefaces I put there. I'm not really interested in seeing a documentary about an 18-year-old. Yeah, I'm not. They get too much celebrity as it is. I don't know. That's just me. Chris with an interesting dynamic. And we have a caller we need to get in here in just a second, but I want to catch up on all these comments. Started at Auburn, finished at Maryland. I'll be at the game. That's pretty cool. Little connection there with, you know, the Auburn and Terps feel to it. We released a podcast today from our friends AJ and Jared, where they spoke to a Maryland fan. So go check that out if you haven't. You can find it on all your podcast streams out there. Ethan, I am not going to the game. This is not one of those years where it lines up well with my schedule as much as I would love to have done that. It was a very easy travel situation. I've got friends there I could potentially stay with. So it would have been a great year to do that. Just, you know, we have got to see family for the holidays, and sometimes it takes that extra weekend to get all those things done. Big Sip says his is very humbling. Watch the documentary. He's not gloating, showing how he came up. Oh, and I get that. Look, I'm not saying that he personally was gloating or anything like that. To me, I'm just not interested in knowing that right now. It's not at the top of my priority list. If I get around to it, sure. But I don't know, just initial reactions to seeing a documentary about a 18-year-old that just made that decision on signing day and it was released. It just didn't, I don't know. It was weird to me. And maybe there's a great story behind it and I'm just missing that right now, but it's not at the on my priority list at this particular moment. All right. Well, I said we were going to get him in and then he's gone again. Every time, okay, next time you call in, sir, get ready because you're coming in right away because we keep losing you the second that I want to call or bring your call up. So call back in if you can. How is the D line shaping up for next year? Any worries? How is the D line shaping up? Well, let's look here. Auburn, I have a website that I use to kind of help me with some of my thoughts about this. But, you know, if you look at the line right now, you've got Keldrick Falk. Apparently, there was a rumor that he might be moving interior wise soon. I don't know how much I buy into that. You'll have Justin Rogers leaving, most likely. Lawrence Johnson leaving. Jalen McLeod is staying around for another year, it seems like. I don't know if that's been confirmed yet. Elijah McAllister is gone. Quintrell, Jamison Travis should be still around. Darren Reed should still be around. Jason Jones will probably still be around. So you'll have a lot of the mainstays, but you're probably needing a lot more depth behind that. It's probably the biggest concern right now for that. Stan is staying in Nashville for New Year's. Well, I bet that will be fun from what I understand. Nashville has become a little bit of a party town. I haven't been to Nashville in many years, but if that's what you love on New Year's, I'm sure that can provide lots of entertainment value. Even if you're not a big New Year's person, I'm sure to go downtown and watch that. And maybe they drop their what would they drop in Tennessee? They drop a peach, or they used to here in Georgia. I don't know. It's be interesting. So I hope you have a fun there. All right, we'll come back to some of those comments and questions. We've got our caller in who's been trying to get in for the last couple of minutes here. I'm wondering if we're having some connection issues. You guys know him very well. You love him. Mr. Kevin, what's going on, sir? Kevin, can you hear me? It seems like we might be having some connection issues. All right, Kevin, I'm going to take you out for just a little bit. If you can hear me, call back in. You might have to go to a different venue or outside or something because I keep losing your call every single time. So try again. Just maybe change where you are, take yourself off Wi-Fi or stuff like that. That was why we were probably losing you in the background all that time. But I want to hear from you tonight. So call back in if you can. All right, let's get back to some of these comments and questions. Bruce asked, what is Auburn's ranking right now? Recruiting ranking right now. It depends on where you look at. I haven't checked today, and so I don't know how transfers in and out have changed the rankings, but we were in the top 10 in all the major ones. I think 7 and 8 were the sweet spots. So as of today, I can't answer that for you, but my continual stressor for everybody is don't focus on the rankings. Don't focus on the stars. It doesn't matter if you invest and plan how you think about this team based on how they perform on signing day, you're going to be vastly disappointed in a football team this coming year because they've got to show up with those stars and keep them / earn them and leave with them as well. And the rankings as well. The rankings are fun to talk about. I've always known this, and I'm not, Bruce, I'm using your comment to talk about a bigger issue, not necessarily directed at you. But we have become programmed, I've realized myself too, to get overly invested in rankings and stars and things like that and just salivate over them as opposed to, is this really what we need? Because if it really was what we needed, you wouldn't be seeing Texas A&M with a brand new head coach. Anyway, I know every time I make that comment, we drop in viewers because some people can't take that, but Corey says, do you think Perry will have any fall off coming in the summer and not the spring? Well, no, because I mean, traditionally that's what most players do. I think it's from what I understand, a fairly new concept that players are allowed to participate in bowl practices. DeMarcus Reddick is apparently participating with the team at bowl practices. I don't know. It's pretty interesting. Kevin, let's try you one more time. If it doesn't work this time, we may not be able to get you in tonight, buddy, because I don't know that your connection. Can you hear me, Kevin? Kevin. All right. Unfortunately, Kevin, you can keep trying. I just don't know that I'm gonna be able to get your call in tonight because that connection is not working. Hate it too, because we need some Kevin optimism tonight. Hugh Freeze needs to decide whether to go full board or not. His face always looks undecided. Just go all Bruce Pearl. What do you mean by that, Kevlar? What do you mean by that? All board or full beard, Kyle Reed. Full beard or not. It's an interesting take. I hadn't really analyzed the facial features of our coaches all that much, but hey, to each his own, I guess. Big Simp says, I'm tired of hearing people down Thorne. I imagine that now he will have time to continue to learn and grow. Even the sports talk people are saying the same. He had time to learn as a late transfer is probably what you meant there. Yeah, listen, I think now that Robbie Ashford is gone, there is that contingency of fans that were convinced themselves that he was the second coming. That's quieted that group. And I loved Robbie and I was really rooting for the kid. And if he was the starter, I would have been thrilled. I just didn't think that he was going to take the necessary steps that he needed to be to beat out of Peyton Thorne. Granted, and he had more time too to get adjusted to everything, to show he had every advantage that he could have to beat out Peyton Thorne and wasn't able to do that. And there's nothing against there. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with saying that and still valuing Robbie. And I hate that he didn't want to finish out his time here at Auburn. And I understand it completely too. So I think that now that contingency of fans has been quieted, you will see less dissension for Peyton Thorne. The problem is that group is going to go now to Holden Gerner. I was corrected again on how to say this, and I just cannot get it for the life of me. And Walker White now. So there's always going to be a contingency of fans that have convinced themselves that the grass is greener on the other side. They're the same ones that thought we needed to get rid of Gus Malzahn. Open that wound tonight. I'll see if that gets me into some trouble. At least within the context of the year that he was gotten rid of. Let's see here. WT agrees with you. I think a full year in the system will really pay dividends next year. I agree. I think a full year with your teammates, your system, your team, learning all the ins and outs, that's going to pay dividends down the line. Clint's here, everybody. Clint is here. If you haven't, check out auburnuniforms.com. He's got you all kinds of information about Music City Bowl stuff, bowl game, aesthetics, all the way dating back to the dawn of time, right, Clint? Go check it out. Kevin keeps trying to call in. Kevin, I don't know if you can hear me or not, but your connection is still not working. So I'm sorry, buddy. You can keep trying, but I don't think it's going to work tonight. So unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be. If you call in out here on the back room, and I think it's stabilized out, I'll let you in. But we just can't, fortunately, fill the dead air every single time. And there it is. David says that Hugh has proven that he can develop quarterbacks. I think he does have that track record. And that's I think that'll show somewhat if Peyton Thorne improves drastically this year, but it's much different story developing a quarterback that's as old as he is, as experienced as he is, as it is to taking someone that you've truly molded at a younger age and up to prominence. So I think Holden may have that opportunity to show that Hugh can do that here at Auburn. But I think truly it'll be Walker White that shows whether he can develop a quarterback. If Walker is the starter by the time all these shenanigans go around. WT, I see that comment every time you see Clint on here. Bubba says, you would think we would have learned by now with QBs. We consistently hate 90% of our QBs, and then they ball elsewhere. Why don't we just trust the quarterback guru we hired as our head coach? Why not trust him? Well, I've seen people say that before, say this, but also I've seen people say things that didn't align with what they were saying now. What I'm saying is this. We are all creatures of emotion and reaction, and sometimes we don't think when we say things online, especially. It's why I try to keep my comments reserved in the way I handle it here in this space, because it's public. It's in the air. Do I have big reactions about certain things when this camera's not on? I certainly do. But knowing that I have to come on camera here, it makes you check up. But when you get to hide behind anonymous logos, anonymous handles, and things like that, you can kind of say what you want without consequence. So no one's ever going to truly learn when they can act the way they want. I didn't realize Maryland's QB wasn't playing. Auburn should win the game. Not so fast, my friend. Not so fast, my friend. I don't think it's as simple as the quarterback being out will help them win. I hope you're right. I do. I think Maryland is a much more well-rounded football team than probably we give them credit for. They competed, at least for part of the games, with a lot of the upper echelon of the Big Ten, and shocked a few people. I even, when we were listening to this week's No Huddle podcast, the Maryland fan we had on suggested that he didn't think the record was indicative of how good Maryland actually was this year. And I would probably tend to agree with that. So does your star quarterback being out hurt you? Absolutely it does. I don't know that I think it's as big a thing as we need to make it out, though. I can't be optimistic. That's just not me, right? I've never been called Pollyanna, sunshine pumper. I've still never understood someone thinking they're insulting you for being a sunshine pumper. Like, I get what you're trying to say, but if you're going to accuse me of something, accuse me for being overly positive. All right. It's the weirdest thing ever. To me, that's when someone uses that against you, that literally shows they have nothing else. I'm going to accuse you for being too positive. All right. You got me. Bruce asked, any news on what kind of plans AD Cohen has, I'm guessing, for Auburn? Typing's important. Stadium needs a new face. Well, here's the way that I personally kind of see this. Clint, if you're still here, can probably provide some context if you want to type all that out, or call in, Clint. You could call in. The renovations, investments into certain aspects of the athletic department seem to come in waves. We are now seeing the active renovation of the baseball stadium, which would make sense with his expertise, Cohen being here, pushing that forward. We saw a commitment before that to invest more into the basketball facilities. Unfortunately, NIL came in and kind of, I think, halted that a little bit, but that's still on the books. My guess is that once everything gets figured out and stabilized with NIL, you will see the restart of the expansion of that practice gym and certain facilities of Neville Arena. And while that is taking place, or slightly before that, you will see an announcement of what they will officially do with Jordan-Hare, aka closing in that end zone and updating some facilities. We all know that's coming. But here's the big thing. If you're interested in renovations, expansions for Jordan-Hare, we as a fan base have to show that we're going to show up for it. And we do for the most part, right? But we got to show that we're going to be able to fill that thing up. So got to think about that too. Let's see here. We got a lot more comments here. Cohen has stated the north end zone is a priority and they're gathering information and the ideas for what to do. So This is probably what you would call the blue sky idea. Ooh, 20% battery. Do we have time to finish? I might have to, y'all might see me plugging up the phone here. If you haven't noticed, I've tried to do this continuity camera thing with the iPhone. In fact, you're going to see me pull a little behind the curtain thing. We might be needed to do that just in case. I'm going to plug this bad boy up and plug it up into the phone in a little bit. But anyway, we're in the blue sky phase, I think, of the process of that. And then there will be conceptualization, and financial commitments after that. We're still probably a ways away from that. Let's see here. Oh, I did notice this, Corey. Who else was surprised to see good old Trooper Taylor as Duke's interim head coach? We were sitting around the couch and living room with Jessica's family this weekend watching the bowl games. And then I look on the screen and there's Trooper Taylor with a towel. And I'm like, what the heck is going on? It is gone so many years since I have seen that man, thought about that man. And yeah, I guess he and the rest of the staff kind of flamed out here at Auburn a little bit. But man, it was a fun, wild ride having him as part of the staff here. And I will say I do miss him. Jessica, my wife, really loved Trooper Taylor too, was one of his favorites, or one of her favorite coaches here during that time. We got to meet him and take pictures with him and all that kind of stuff as students. So I have some fond memories of Trooper Taylor. It was good to see him, even in an interim status, get an opportunity to do something like that. Robbins, Carruthers. We have 3 quarterbacks that are 1 year in Hugh Freeze's system. Number 4 on the way. I feel good about it. Next question. I guess we've covered it all. Then we can't ever talk about it again. We have 3 quarterbacks that are in 1 year in. Oh, I got what you're saying. You're counting Hank Brown in that. I was like, Robbie's gone, but Hank Brown does count in that. It'll take some time to get through all of that. Trooper will forever be an Auburn legend. I think legend's a bit of an overstatement, but he will definitely be remembered fondly by those that were here during this time. Because he was associated with the championship team, I don't think he'll ever be forgotten. But he won't be one of those staples that people 50 years from now remember, unless you lived it. He was an incredible recruiter, and it's hard to come up with, not that I'm trying, bad things to say about Trooper Taylor. But yeah, so it was good to see him out there on the field and having opportunities to do things. I don't know that head coaching is ever going to be in his job or his opportunities outside of smaller schools. Has he ever been a head coach? Does anybody know that? Let's look it up. Trooper Taylor. Going to look his coaching career very fast here. I know sometimes it's boring to see me doing this actively. He has been wide receiver coach, running back coach, wide receiver, AHC. He's been associate head coach a lot, and now interim head coach. So always the bridesmaid, but never quite the bride. Hope maybe he'll get his opportunity down the line somewhere. All right. What else is on your mind? Thoughts, comments, questions, derogatory rebuttals? We're about halfway through the show of what we traditionally do. By the way, we do this every single Wednesday night. For those of you that are watching live right now, we'd love to have you show up every Wednesday night. This is the place where your voice matters the most. We're going to take as many comments as we can. And we'd love for you to call in tonight. Kevin, our good friend, has been trying all night to call in. His Wi-Fi or signal is just not helping him tonight. But please do, if you'd like to, call in and talk to me. And give old Kyle a break from talking. Is basically what I'm begging you to do. But I do enjoy Wednesday nights the most, even if you guys aren't able to call in, because it's the most easy and free-flowing thing that I do for E2C Network. And I just love hanging out with you guys. We'll bounce around to whatever you guys want to talk about, but let me switch gears a little bit. Basketball team, how's everybody feel about them? Was it 7-2, 8-2, something like that? How are we feeling about that? Give me some thoughts on the basketball team. What's working? What's not? What are you frustrated with? What are you excited about? As I've hinted at a few of you who have been on our post-game streams, I'm really, 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 really excited about this basketball team. And I don't say that lightly or often, or about a team. I don't get like overly invested in hyperbole, but this is a good basketball team. Kevlar says so many of the bowls so far had sparse attendance. Hopefully, the Music City Bowl will look full. Look, there's a reason that Auburn outperforms its record in where it usually attends bowl game. What do I mean by that? Usually, you have to have a certain record, or things have to fall a certain way with how many SEC teams are going where in the bowl/playoff to get you that certain point. But I would say oftentimes Auburn is getting looked at by bowl games higher than its record because of its record in terms of the investment, attendance, fervor of its fan base and the Auburn family. We show up. As I told people thousands of times on this show, on our podcast, wherever, if you want to sell something, if you want to drive revenue, attendance, viewership, attach Auburn to it. We have shown that in things like a TV show with The Bachelor, Maddie Pruitt being part of that, in semi-pro teams where we followed our former players, such as War Ready, even though they haven't had the most success out there. But we have definitely seen that investment by Auburn family, and it's reaping rewards in things like bowl games. So yes, I think you will see not a full stadium because I don't know how well Maryland will travel. It's a nice even point between the two teams. So hopefully we will see that happen. Let's see, Kevin, I'm watching you down here and it doesn't look like you're unfrozen. So unfortunately, I don't think I'm going to be able to get you in right now, but keep trying if you want to. I just can't promise that we'll be able to get you in. David asks, who is the last guard that we signed? I think Tahad Pettiford. Has he been signed? Tahad Pettiford, who would be in the next class. Are you talking about guard of football or basketball? That came in when I had mentioned basketball, so I don't know which one you're asking. Tahad Pettiford, let me confirm that he actually has, yes, he has officially signed with Auburn. I thought that was the case, but I wasn't officially sure. If you're asking about basketball, when was the last guard that we signed? It's Tahad Pettiford. So he'll be here next year. From what I remember when we did the video about him, he's a combo guard and can play point guard as well. I think he'll fit in nicely with this group. You know, you'll lose KD. You'll still have Trey around. If Aiden Holloway goes pro, he can slide right into that slot. So he'll fit in nicely into some holes that may actually be there. Yeah, Big Simp. I saw this report earlier that there, and I guess maybe it was the press conference or the media meetings today, that the illness bug is going through the team right now. It's a very common thing, this time of year, but during bowl games and stuff like that, everybody is, well, apparently there's a lot of stuff going around just the general public right now. Newsflash, folks, this happens every year, pandemic or not. Hopefully with what? Tomorrow, Friday, 2 days to get everybody ready to play. Could be tough. Finley gave Rice a black eye. Let's look at what old TJ Finley did. TJ Finley. He's playing at Texas State versus Rice. Was that what it was in the bowl game? First Responder Bowl, 45-21. Look at that. For those of you that need some context, TJ Finley was the starter for Auburn for a few games during his 2 years here. I would say more bad than good during his time here, but he definitely has flourished in a different system, in a different conference. He went 15 for 20. Oh, I can hear it in my ears. 15 for 29, 152 yards. I would say that's a pretty pedestrian game. But he had an 8-5 year. And from what I remember, had some pretty good games there. But I'm always happy to see people have success outside of Auburn after they leave us, especially if they leave, in my opinion, the right way. And I think TJ graduated. Isn't that correct? So if you leave as a graduate, that adds an extra notch in your belt to me for even if you leave Auburn before your time in football is done. Tahad is phenomenal, Bubba says. I haven't watched a lot of his film, but I can go off of what I was preaching against a second ago, the stars and everybody else's opinion about him. He seems like a high caliber player that Auburn's going to get in here and really need him to contribute. Really need him to contribute. Kevin, I will try one more time tonight, buddy. I don't know that it's going to come through. Can you hear me, Kevin?
War Eagle.
All right. Are you there? Can you hear me fully? I can hear you a little bit.
Yeah, War Eagle, Cal.
War Eagle, what you got for me tonight? We have a little bit of delay, but we can work with it.
How about the running back?
Give me a little bit more specifics. What do you want to know about the running backs, other than I love them?
DeQuez Hunter, Ron Beatty.
Yeah. What are you asking? Like, is Jarquez coming back?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know because I don't talk to Jarquez, but my hope is yes. And I think there's a lot of reasons for him to consider coming back. The problem is that I'm sure he wants to play at the next level. And Jarquez knows, just like everybody else, that running backs have a short lifespan in general, but especially in the NFL. And so a lot of times if you see them make that decision, it's because of that reason. So I see reason for him to come back. To me, the kid decommitting from our recruit class tells me, hey, there's not a lot of room for me anymore, which means somebody's staying longer than they should have. So I think he's staying right now.
I think he will stay too.
I do as well. So are you going to the Music City Bowl?
No, I don't have no ticket.
Well, I wish I had one to give you, buddy, but I do not. I didn't even invest. Although last time I checked, the tickets weren't exorbitantly expensive. I think when they came out, it was like you could get into the upper deck for like $25. So I don't know where they're at now. So you could if you wanted to.
How about the wide receivers?
Which one are you most excited about? The new one.
Bryce Cain.
I've heard a lot of people get excited about Bryce Cain, and I love that because all the attention goes to Cam Coleman and all the attention goes to Perry Thompson and maybe Ryan Williams if he wants to complete the Freeze 5. Hey. But a lot of these other two guys we don't need to forget about as well. So I'm glad to hear these one of your favorites.
I think Ryan Williams will flip to Auburn.
I hope you're right. So I need, like I told you last week, I need you, that little kid on social media that, made
that 13-year-old.
Yes, we need you two to start getting on him every day and saying, let's do it. What other questions you got tonight, Kevin? Our connection may be dropping off just a little bit.
I think our defense will be really good next year.
I think they will be. I think we'll be missing a few key pieces, losing, your DJ Jameses, your Nehemiah Pritchett's, your, I'm blanking on everybody else. But yes, you get all of that group, but you're keeping Keontae Scott. You've got that young talent coming up. There's a lot to be excited about. So we'll see what happens. DeMarcus Riddick is actually practicing, apparently, which that's a new thing to me. I wasn't aware that they could officially practice with the team in bowl games if they got here that early.
He's all practicing with Auburn.
He is. It's really cool to see him out there real early. Well, Kevin, I think our connection's about to cut out again, but I appreciate you being so vigilant tonight and calling in and letting us see your smiling face, buddy. So War Eagle. All right. We got Kevin through tonight. We made it. He worked really hard to get on there, So appreciate you, buddy, for being so patient tonight and working with your connection issues. If you want to call in, hit the link up at the top. If you're on X/Facebook, you'll have to come over to, I think it's on the Facebook page, but I'm not sure. So don't be shy. Come on in, say hello. It's really easy. All that stuff. Trent gives us our first comment on X since broadcasting there once again. And whoever just did that, thank you. Go ahead and smash that like button if you haven't. Says he's flipping about Ryan Williams. Are you related to Ryan Williams? I hope so. I think a lot of people are getting their happiness built on a kid that is clearly eating up every ounce of the attention he's getting from this. I'm pretty happy with our wide receiver room and with our class without him, but I will certainly be thrilled to have him and celebrate if he wants to flip and just send Alabama fans into an absolute tizzy. That will be a fun day if it actually happens, but I'm not getting overly invested in it. Let's see. I wonder if we have most of our 25 class locked in by the begging season. Interesting. By the beginning of the season. I would know coach would love to have that, but so many of these guys want to take their recruiting down all the way to the wire. You're probably going to have some of those bigger stars that he wants to go after still haven't made their decisions, and it'll probably take it down to the end of the year before that. Neil's entire family is going to the Music City Bowl, so there you go. The Auburn family and Neil's family are representing well. I'm glad you brought this up too. Flashed across my screen. Broncos bench quarterback Russell Wilson and will turn to Jarrett Stidham from the AP. I hope this still comes to fruition. I'm accepting it as true because it comes from the AP and they usually get these things right. But I feel like this is Jarrett Stidham's story where he gets, for those of you that don't know, Jarrett Stidham was a former Auburn quarterback for 2 years, had a pretty successful 2 years here. Some would say some very low points in that, but I think pretty successful, almost got us to the playoff. I think it just seems like his story in the NFL so far. He gets like these little windows of opportunity at the end or the beginning or in the preseason, but never gets to fully take on the role. He was kind of brought in this year to kind of push Russell Wilson, and it never really came to fruition, even when he was hurt sometimes. So I hope that he does show out and maybe gets a chance to finally start. Alan says, I've heard if Hunter is a second or third rounder, he would go pro. If not, he will consider coming back. And I would understand that because we've seen a lot of running backs go in the second and third round in NFL drafts and have very lucrative careers. So to me, I would still think he could get his value up higher by coming back if he went in the third round, especially. But I would understand, especially given running back's track record. So to me, I'm okay with it if he's a second to third rounder guy and he goes. Anything below that, I think he probably would have made a hasty decision. But that's not my decision to make. That's his. That's just my opinion. And I'm not made to make those type of opinions be lasting impacts on someone's career. Trent talking still about Ryan Williams. If he doesn't, we're still stacked. What's the word on AJ Harris? Don't know the dude. And, I'm sure there are some experts out there that will be able to tell you otherwise, but I get the sense that has drastically cooled off, at least maybe in the hype of it. Now, maybe he eventually does flip to Auburn. I think he can look at the situation and say, look at all those cornerbacks and defensive backs that left Auburn. I can start there pretty quickly. Maybe he sees that value and maybe he will decide to come to Auburn. It's happened once before with Trey Matthews. That worked out pretty well once he got to Auburn. Not so well when he was at Georgia for him, part of the Prairie and Jordan Hare play. People forget that. But haven't heard anything, and I haven't seen anything posted anywhere that seems to indicate to me that there's any reason to get super excited about it right now. But the great thing is that the transfer portal is still alive and well. The process continues. And here's the thing is you're probably going to see a lot of these decisions start being made as the bowl games get closer and closer to ending, with coaches moving around to different places. From what I understand, I think is it Syracuse? Do I have that wrong? That hired Fran Brown, and came from Georgia, and what his coach, maybe wants to go up there, which would be weird, but hey, you do you. If Williams flips freeze, he will have the Infinity Gauntlet. Believe it or not, I have an Infinity Gauntlet right over there. If it wouldn't mess up my whole setup here, I'd go grab it for you. You know what? Should I do it? Should I do it for the show? Do it for the reaction? Let's see if I mess this up. Stay tuned. Only here do you get these kind of props. Yes, if Hugh Freeze gets the flip, for those of you that aren't Marvel fans, you won't know. So that would be Bryce Kane, Malcolm Johnson, Perry Thompson, Cam Coleman, Ryan Williams. This could be you, sir. It could be you. So hope y'all, well, I pushed it again. Hope y'all enjoyed that little demonstration tonight. I did think that I was going to mess up the set by going over there, but it worked out. Hey, Michael, there you go. I figured somebody would appreciate that. Hopefully a lot of you did. Some of you are like, what a nerd this guy is. Why am I watching this show? And I would understand that reaction too. If Williams flips, you will hear is we didn't want him anyway. Yes. All we'll hear is we didn't want him anyway. It's the same slogan. It's the same thing. It's what you're hearing from the Ole Miss fans about the kicker situation. I have never in my life seen more Ole Miss fans. So if this is a gross word, not word, but just a phrase, butthurt about having a little fun with the whole Lane Kiffin getting jilted by a kicker situation. Hey, they will tell you clearly they don't care about this, even though they spent time commenting on a video about it. Yeah, they don't care whatsoever. Michael, hey, we got people who want tickets. Can you get them some tickets? Not me. I can't go. I would want a ticket, but I can't go. Towns Magoo, yes, is who we were talking about. What did you get for Christmas, Kyle? I am ashamed to say, and this is partly my fault, that I have yet to get anything official Auburn for Christmas. I didn't put a lot on there. In fact, I have already compiled my list for birthday/Christmas starting for next year, because I've realized, seeing so many other Auburn fan stuff, things that I would have wanted had I put it on my list, like a lot of books and stuff like that. I got a little collection going over here. So I didn't get anything Auburn. Now, I did get a new travel tumbler cup for, in your car when you need some water or something like that. And my wife specifically got that for me with the navy color for Auburn. So if you want me to count that, I will. I have the other side of my family to see. So maybe, just maybe, there's something Auburn in there. But I failed you all this year in terms of being able to show you a bunch of Auburn stuff. We had more to show last year. What did you guys get? Did you guys get anything for Auburn? Did I get tickets to the bowl game? I've gotten those before, but I'm just not able to do that this year, unfortunately. Michael, you need to call in, sir. Call in right now. You need to come over to YouTube, because I don't know if I put the link up on Facebook to call in, but I don't know if you can. But thank you for reminding people to like and subscribe. It is much appreciated, sir. All right. What else is on your mind? Thoughts, questions, derogatory rebuttals? We're about 48 minutes into the show, getting close to when we normally end. But if you guys still have great thoughts, questions, and comments, we can keep going. But now's the time to start thinking about if there's something you'd like for me to expound upon, something you'd like to get the group's message on. Let me know. I don't think we're not going to be doing a preview show for the bowl game. That's partially my fault. Just schedules wouldn't align this year. As I've told a lot of you, I have had a very, at times, wonderful and times horrible year. And I don't say that just to garner sympathy, but you've seen me say a lot on these shows, hey, I'm going to plan to do this, but we haven't done that. If you'd been walking back here, you understand why. Some of you know what's been going on. Nothing's fallen apart or anything like that. It just has been one of those years. So I'm hoping next year we will have a little bit more organization and planning going forward. I should have planned to do. I say all that to say I should have had a preview show planned. So let me ask you, for everybody that's here right now, what's your score prediction for the bowl game? Drop it in there. Let's hear about it. What is your score prediction for Auburn versus Maryland in this particular Music City Bowl? I'm going to look up real quick while you guys are thinking about that, the schedule for Maryland. Pull that up. Of course, I'm going to get something blaring in my headphones from this certain website, I'm sure. Oh, really? I didn't. So they started out 5-0, wins over Virginia, Michigan State, and Indiana, and then went on to lose 4 straight. Ohio State, I think they were in that game at home versus Ohio State. They lost a very close game to Illinois. They lost to Northwestern at Northwestern. That's not a good look, especially this year. They got walloped by Penn State. They took Michigan down to the wire. They beat Nebraska and beat Rutgers. So to me, where I was referencing earlier that this Maryland team is probably better than people think in their record, you look at that Michigan game, from what I remember, the Ohio State game started for them. And, but most of that didn't. All right. We got us a caller here. So give me 1 second. Let me look at their score predictions. 24-20, 23-20, 31-10, 31-17, 24-17, 35-17, 27-24. Oh, good predictions. Keep posting them if you haven't already. All right. Mr. Michael Floyd, what's going on, sir?
Oh, yeah.
What's going on?
You know what, Kyle? I'm going to tell you this. You are like the first podcast I have ever been on. And I remember when we did a podcast back in, I think, 2020 at the height of the movements and all the stuff that was going on in the country at the time. And
right.
I was on there when I talked about that, and you were I was so nervous. And like ever since then, I've been on here multiple times. I've been on a lot of podcasts now, and I have to credit you because you got me, into this podcast field. So, salute to you, sir.
Well, thank you. I don't know if I can take credit for that, but I appreciate you trying to give me some credit there. Look, I don't. Are you sure that was our first time? I think
that was our first time.
I thought you and I, because we did your Auburn Roots episode, which you all should go look at that series.
Yes, but that was after.
That was after it?
That was after. That was the very first one.
Okay. Well, I had it in my. You and I have done several shows together.
Yeah.
So it's hard to remember all of them together. But you have been. You're always a joy to talk to. So I'm glad to have done so many with you.
And this is, and I really hate to give all the Auburn family whiplash of what I'm about to say, but
oh Lord, here we go.
This is the time of the year when Auburn hired Brian Harsin, and like my Facebook memories has been filled with all of the pro Harsin stuff I was posting, and I was like, delete, double delete, and I remember we did a podcast on him too, a student's reaction.
We did one on him. Yep,
we did. We did. If you would have came to me last year for a student reaction podcast, maybe my tone would have been a little bit different. But it's just those. I often tell people you can't appreciate where you're going until you remember where you came from. And as much as grief and strife we have towards the Harsin administration at Auburn, we still probably wouldn't be in the place we are. I mean, that may be good, it may be bad, but I do feel like we're going in a positive direction.
No, I agree with you there. And I remember back when Harsin was hired, my reaction behind the scenes at the very least was, who? and okay. And so, you know, we try here to be not a sunshine pumper, as some people like to call me, even though that's not
Me
an
too.
insult to me. But
Me
I
either.
try to put on a positive focus on the program, the coaches, whoever's here, as long as there's something to substantiate it. As I continue to say, especially throughout the second season, that became harder and harder to justify. So yeah,
Oh
I
yeah.
think we went through a lot. What was I think a very poor decision. First of all, that we should have never been at that point, but
Right.
to hire Brian Harsin, and I do hope that he finds success elsewhere. But I think we're in a much better situation right now. Not just in football. It seems to be all swinging in the right direction. You know, basketball's got still the Bruce Pearl effect going. Butch is got, you know, his program going well, his facilities heading his direction. You know, gymnastics is maintaining, equestrian is the height it's always been. We could keep going down the list. It's a good time to be at Auburn.
It is. It's a great time to be in Auburn. I can't wait to be in Auburn North this weekend. Matter of fact, as soon as I get off here, I'm going to go finish packing because we leave in the morning to go.
Yeah.
Well, we're going to Auburn, staying over, and then going to Nashville on Friday, staying over for the game on Saturday. Okay. But looking forward to seeing all the Auburn family there. I think it's going to be very special. The last time Auburn played the last bowl win Auburn has was in the Music City Bowl.
Yeah. Thanks for reminding me of
that. Yes. That's the last time we won a bowl game. So a lot is on the line Saturday. Obviously, you want to end this year on a good note, and also realizing, you know, hey, I hate to give people whiplash again, but you know that Iron Bowl loss still stings. So it's very important to get this win and put that game, the Iron Bowl, behind us and move on forward on a positive note. Auburn's football is looking for its 800th program win. That is going to be big. And also, the last time an Auburn team played in the Music City Bowl back in 2003, that 2004 season, we all know what happened. So, coincidence? I think not, but we will see.
Hey, we can find the correlations wherever we want. You know, all we need to do we can believe whatever we want. It's all connected, right? You know,
yes, it is.
You know the meme where the guy's got the board going. I think it's from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, where he's like, he does his hands like this. He's trying to like figure out
absolutely.
It's all connected, right? Yeah, that's how we
absolutely.
Well, Michael, it is always a pleasure to hear from you. Call in some more, sir. We want to hear you all the time.
Absolutely. War Eagle.
War Eagle. All right, I kept time to take maybe one more call if you want to call in. As Michael just showed you, it's not hard to do. It's not it's not intimidating because it's me you be talking to, but I get the nervousness of calling into a show because that's my face, or my voice. But as we saw tonight, you can either be on camera or off camera, but y'all try to take advantage of it when you can. I love hearing y'all's perspectives. So, couple comments came in there. I almost forgot that we are going for our 800th win. It'd be a nice kind of cornerstone to set, winning the Music City Bowl, moving forward into a new season. It'd just kind of be the nice stepping stone into the right direction. We got a couple other predictions while we were talking. Heavy dose of running against Maryland. Yes, sir. Please. 23-20, 48-10 Auburn. I haven't really looked at it hardcore enough to make an informed decision about my prediction, but I'm just going to throw one out here since we're not doing a preview show. I'm going to say 33-24 Auburn. 33-24 Auburn. I think we're losing a few starters not participating on defense. That might hurt us. Their quarterback being gone will hurt them, but I think some of their losses and our losses kind of negate each other out. Alan says, with Peyton Thorne looking like he's number one quarterback, should we go after a quarterback like New Mexico State's, someone to push PT without paying too much in NIL? I don't necessarily think that's the worst idea, but then you're just spending money just to spend money that could be allocated elsewhere for certain, Ryan Williams. To me, I think a year where you say to Peyton, this is your team, lead us. But hey, you got two guys in Holden and this new kid, Walker White. And look, Hank Brown's in that mix too. But I'm not going to forget about him. But he's the reality is he's behind those other two. They're going to push you. And if you slip up, we're going to give them an opportunity. So he can be pushed by those, especially Holden, who's been around here long enough. But to me, I don't think it's a terrible idea. Why it just seems like wasted money at that point because you got all the depth you need. You got Holden seems to be speculation wise a great quarterback. Walker, he's a brand new commit. We'll recruit and signing, so we'll see. Oh man, he joined On to Victory. Congratulations. By the way, folks, I'm going to use as a plug. Please do support Auburn and On to Victory. But if you want to help support us here at E2C Network, especially if you're here on YouTube, there's a very easy way to do it. You'll see that join button down there below. $1 a month. That's all it takes to keep the lights on it here at E2C Network. You'll get perks. In fact, if you join that through here on YouTube or through Patreon, it'll give you access to our Discord, and you can talk to other fine folks that are part of our Conquer Club. So join here if you'd like to help support us. But also thanks for supporting On to Victory in Auburn. You gave me the opportunity to plug that, so I'm going to. Corey says, how well will NIL help out baseball recruiting? I would suspect it would because, they have a lot of scholarship limitations with them. So I'd suspect that helps out a lot. I just haven't done the research to really give you hardcore information about that. Thank you, sir, for the kind words, and thanks for stopping by. I hope we will see you again soon. And Michael reminds everybody we're wearing all white. Maryland's wearing all black. It will be pleasing to the eyes. I agree. I think that's going to be a nice looking game out there. No confusing colors or schemes mixed together. We'll know who Maryland is. We'll know who Auburn is. And their uniforms are probably looking pretty good. As much as I gave Maryland crap about their conglomeration of colors and stuff that they could have, going with that just straight all black look and that the red Terps, I think is going to be and they've got like their yellow flag on their sleeves and stuff like that, which I think is just a nice touch of their original craziness. And then Auburn's Stormtrooper look. Oh, so good. All white tops, bottoms. Face mask. Clint confirmed that today, that they're wearing the white face masks, and if they do the all white socks and sleeves for those that wear them, the Stormtroopers are back, baby. I've heard this comparison a lot. Peyton Thorne kind of reminds me of Jarrett Stidham, and I don't think it's the furthest analogy, whatever word you want to use, comparison that you could make. I felt that too. His start and Jarrett Stidham's start have not been equal, but maybe they're flip-flopping because most people would say Jarrett really came along in that end of his first year. We were almost in the playoff and then kind of just stabilized the rest of the time he was here. Maybe what we're seeing here is Peyton getting settled in and still on the rise into his second year here at Auburn. That's what I'm hoping for. All right. Looks like a lot of people are starting to check out. Everybody's wishing everybody good New Year's and stuff like that. All right. Here's what we're going to do. Before you head off, let me do the normal end of the show stuff and get you that. But final comments, questions, rapid fire. Get them in right now. Don't miss your opportunity to have your voice heard here. Put them in right now. Here is what to expect coming up. Why did that not save, first of all? Hold on one second, folks. I had a certain thing ready for you guys to see, and it deleted. Luckily, we were prepared for it. All right, so these are your next scheduled live streams for us. Now, I will stress that on Saturday, we have 2 potential live streams. Likely one of them is not going to happen. We will do it in the following. So here's what you normally would expect from us. A post-game reaction live stream where you can be here, hang out with us, talk to us about what you're thinking after the bowl game. Normally we would do that right after. I will be at a family event that will likely still be going on. If it is not, I will go live. If it is, I will likely do it the next day, a day after. But I anticipate being able to do the next scheduled live stream, the Chattanooga game, that night for Auburn basketball. And I'll give you guys that reminder if we're doing it on the Sunday following that. But then later in the week, we'll take on Penn in our final non-conference game reaction show there, which will bring us back to next Wednesday, where you should be here again for Auburn Family Night. We've had a good crowd tonight and a good show, and I appreciate you guys being here. So don't miss out on another Auburn Family Night next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, where your voice matters the most. All right, final thoughts, questions, derogatory rebuttals. Walker White will be a stud in time, so I get not wanting to spend more, especially trying to get Ryan, the whole state, going to go crazy if he flips. Well, not the whole state. Well, I guess half will go crazy in a good way. Half will go crazy further than they are in the bad way. So to me, if someone wants to come to Auburn and us not have to spend a lot of NIL money on them, bring them on in. But I think we're good with where we're at. If Auburn wins, we all need to buy BUY some fireworks. I agree. I can't shoot them where I'm going to be, but I would love to. I love fireworks. But I hope we all celebrate rolling the trees, whatever. I might roll the tree or something if that's what happens, if we win. All right, folks, it has been good talking to you in what will be our final Auburn Family Night of 2023. It has been a year, folks, some of it good, some of it bad for me. And I speak, as an Auburn perspective, but as a personal perspective too. I am, though, excited for what 2024 is going to bring all of us, even Auburn. And I appreciate you being here, being part of our little family within the Auburn family, and hanging out with us tonight. Just means so much to me. So thank you guys. I hope you had a great holiday, had a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to all you. And I hope that you'll see you on some live streams, see you on social media, all the different places that you can find our content. And until I talk to you again, War Eagle.